People who just can't seem to relax. I hate that word. I just hate that word. Don't you hate it when people tell you, relax? I know, it's just yeah. Anyhow, are you one of these people? You know what I mean, right? It's just you always feel like you on edge. And of course, we hate it when people tell us to relax. And I don't really think that's a proper way to approach that. But when we're assessing and talking to ourselves, we can often see, like, yeah, then we can talk to ourselves and admit, why is it that I'm always on edge like that? And I wanted to talk about this because this is something that is very relatively common enough. And apologies if I'm sweating like a pig. It is hot here and there is no AC, and I really want to record this while it's still the early morning. One major reason, there could be a lot of reasons, right? This is why I'm very careful when I'm making these sort of content, because I don't want to come up with one item and make it seem like it's a blanket statement that covers every single, that troubleshoots every single areas, because that's not true at all. It could be many reasons, but this one is common enough that I think it's worth highlighting it. And that is, we need to talk about the moon, your moon in your chart. This is why, again, it is super important to know your own chart and then to understand how the transits, the global transits that are happening, how they're affecting you personally. Right now, for example, we do have Saturn in Aries, which is affecting the global community. But guess what? It's also affecting you. There's an additional layer how it's affecting you, because where is Aries in your chart? Which house is Aries falling in, right? Is it in your first house, the self? Is it in your second house, money values? Is it in the ninth house that is associated with Sagittarius? All about learning, higher learning, short term traveling, things like that. Like, where are these trends it's falling? And I think this is where astrology starts being so much fun, right? Right, way beyond the sun sign horoscopes. Oh my goodness, don't even get me started with that. Anyhow, we can use astrology as an amazing system to help guide you through life. I really think it's one of the greatest system, if not the greatest system. Of course, I'm a little bit biased here, but to mirror you and to help you, because this thing is absolutely fascinating, right? And another topic that we don't talk enough about, at least here on the platform, that's something I want to cover more, is your moon, right? The moon gets a bad rep in society because we live in a very, very, very a society that praises logic, right? Doesn't really like the whole inner knowing, doesn't like emotions too much, keep it contained. When you're out there, use your, all about logical brain and facts and statistics and numbers and guaranteed outcomes, right? And the moon doesn't really fit in that area, in that environment too much. So, but the moon is important. And each one of us, we do have a specific moon in your birth chart, as in, where is your own moon located? Which house is it in? What sign? What's the flavor is it in? Right? And now, if you feel like lately you just can't seem to, you always feel like you anxious, one major reason can actually be Saturn is right now, we said, right? Saturn was in Aries. Does your moon also happen to be there in Aries, where it's actually conjuncting, the Saturn transit that we have right now? Or is it creating another hard aspect where it is squaring the Saturn right now, right? Saturn is in Aries. Is the moon squaring Saturn? Where is it? What location is it in? Is it creating that 90-degree angle on your chart, right? Is there an opposition, right? So we need to know all of these things, because I feel like this is when the chart really starts becoming alive, right? And this is when your life takes a whole other level, because you understand all of these trends that are happening, they're not random. They're actually here. I see them as part of the gym of life, right? They're there to create movement, to create situations, to force us to grow, because let's be honest, Most of us, we don't really like to rock the boat too much. We even have a saying that's quite popular: if it ain't broken, why fix it, right? Don't break it if it ain't, don't break it if it don't fix it if it ain't broken, something like that. You've all heard it. We've all heard the variation of that. So this is in the way we need those planetary movement, and also because that is life. Nothing is ever static. Nothing is ever stagnant. If it's stagnant, then it's, I don't know if I could say that word without being flagged by the computers, the algorithm. But right, if it's static, we're pretty much expired. Let's put it that way. So everything that is alive has a movement, has a flow, has energy that is constantly pulsing through, that is circulating. That is true for every single living organism, whether it is, us as a more complex, human being, or the tree that is right across your house, or in the park when you go take a walk outside, your animal, your pet, your dog, it doesn't even matter. Even like very, very simplistic organism, they have movement. Nothing is stagnant, right? Our cells are continuously regenerating. Whenever things are getting stagnant, this is when we get sick. So we need to understand that this is part of life, right? And this is actually, it's part of life. But then if you feel that, this is why you need to know, because we're not just doing all this astrology just because we're a bunch of control freak. Maybe I am to some extent, right? But we're also doing it because we want to be aware. We want to raise awareness, that way we can come up with the right tools to help us do life, right? And if you don't know what your own astrological, what your own personal natal setup is, definitely do pull up your chart on the internet. There's so many free tools out there for you to pull up your chart and seeing where those transits are landing. And you can also book a session with me, a consultation, that we can discuss about things that are going through your life, because it's fascinating, the things that you're going through, that you're struggling with. Do you find yourself struggling with friendships, and that people don't understand you, and then people keep disappearing on you? Or you whenever you're in a relationship, you get that fear that the person's gonna leave you? Well, guess what? The chart is gonna show all of that, all of these things, where your wound is, where what type of dynamic you struggle with. The reason is not to make your life harder, it's because it is to help you grow. So those of us who are feeling really anxious, even if it's not full blown anxiety, but you just can't relax, you're always on edge, often I really do recommend you to pay attention to your moon, because it is a story the moon wants to be expressed, and it is a story that is trying to come out, that is trying to come through, that is ready to be in the broad light, to be, to flourish. Because the birth chart, in a way, is a curriculum, you can see it that way. You would often hear astrologers call it your natal promise. It's because even if some things don't make sense to you, often with time you would see development and you'd be like, oh, wow, okay. So it's almost like a curriculum that shows you, that has a perfect setup for you to work on the work that you came to do here, right? And so the moon being aspected is all part of that. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is random in life, especially not in your chart, especially not with the transits that are happening right now, the global planetary movements and the way it's hitting your chart. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is random. So I do recommend you, I really do encourage you to pay attention to your moon and how is it being expected right now with the transits that are going on. How are there any pressure, any opposition, any, one of those hard aspects like a square opposition? What is happening? Because it is a story that it's trying to communicate with you, and we need to know exactly what's happening for you. That way you can build up the right tools and you can have awareness, so you could just start giving it energy, so you can start growing, right? By going through that, by giving it your attention. And also that helps you empower yourself and stop feeling that you this loose leaf who's just, being blown out there by the by the wind, and and then all these, intense trends that are happening right now. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. And also another very common thing that is might be happening today, maybe you do have Uranus, if you have Gemini moon also, Uranus right now is in Gemini. Well, this can definitely make you feel like an intensity. So pay attention to that, right? Or any other moon in Aries, any other moon in Aquarius, really close to the big three, the big planetary, and also Neptune. But Neptune a little bit less, I find, but like, know what is going on in your chart. And that is it for today, my love. And as usual, all my links are down below. So you can come and see me for your own astrological consultation. And I will see you in the next one. Keep shining bright like a diamond. Bye.